I really did want to put Governor Cuomo on the court, but he didn't want to do it, so I started looking around.
He moving from his favorite person of the week to the next favorite person of the week. And Judge Ginsburg was sort of old to be a nominee. She was in her early 60s. Most people, I think, thought she was out of the running for that reason. And Marty was just not going to accept that.
We're talking about Ruth, and we must remember how shy she was. I can't think of anyone less likely to toot her own horn than Ruth. So Marty had to play the New York Philharmonic.
No question about it. People who observed at the time said, well, Ruth would have been on a list. Maybe she would be 22 or 23. But it was Marty who made her number one. He had a little book of people that he contacted. They were...
He had lots of contacts in the business community, lots of contacts in the legal community, in the academic community, among the women she had helped. And I don't even know all the things he did.
He was so in love with his wife and so respected her. As a real giant in the legal profession, he felt it would be an outrage if she wasn't seriously considered.
And look, he wasn't the only one that was campaigning for somebody to be on the court. He had some pretty stiff opposition, but it was her interview that did it. We arranged for her to come to the White House. I wanted to see how her mind worked. So I engaged her in this conversation. And all of a sudden, I wasn't the president interviewing her for the Supreme Court anymore. We were two people having an honest discussion about what's the best way in the moment and for the future to make law.
Ruth Ginsburg, as quiet and kind of withdrawn and almost timid as she can be, she is a performer. And she walked in that room and he fell for her.
Literally, within 15 minutes, I decided I was going to name her. I am proud to nominate this path-breaking attorney, advocate, and judge to be the 107th Justice to the United States Supreme Court.
When I was nominated back in 1993, Senator Biden chaired the committee. The leading Republican member was Orrin Hatch.
Do you have any concerns right now?
There are always concerns because these are very important positions. And so there will be a lot of questions asked.
Day 2 of the Ruth Bader Ginsburg confirmation hearings.
Judge Ginsburg did something no recent high court nominee has done, spoke at length about her support for abortion rights.
It is essential to woman's equality with man that her choice, that she be the decision maker. This is something central to a woman's life, to her dignity, and when government controls that decision for her, she's being treated as less than a fully adult human responsible for her own choices.
She was put on the court by a liberal president as a liberal justice. And that's the way this country works.
I disagree with you on a number of things, and I'm sure you disagree with me, but that isn't the issue, is it? And frankly, I admire you. You've earned the right, in my opinion, to be on the Supreme Court.
She was confirmed 96-3. Now, you could argue it's not as partisan a time as it is now, but it was pretty partisan.
Promising to defend the Constitution, pioneering women's rights advocate Ruth Bader Ginsburg has been sworn in as the second woman on the U.S. Supreme Court bench.
I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties of the office on which I am about to enter.
the duties of the office on which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
It was extremely exciting because this powerful little woman was going on the Supreme Court, and that meant there were going to be two.
The standard robe is made for a man because it has a place for the shirt to show and the tie. So Sandra Day O'Connor and I thought it would be appropriate if we included it as part of our robe, something typical of a woman. During my long tenure here, I was not the most, quote, liberal justice on the court.
From the beginning, I think what she was looking for was to build consensus. Even though Chief Justice Rehnquist and Sandra Day O'Connor were conservative justices, they were still justices with which Ginsburg was able to find common ground.
That was her style. She really wanted to be able to convince her fellow justices to move her way, even if it means conceding certain things and compromising.
To start out, I thought you might like to know a little bit about the gentlemen who are surrounding us. These are the first set of Chief Justices of the Supreme Court. John Marshall is the fourth Chief Justice, and what he said was that this Constitution is the highest law of the land. The 14th Amendment has a clause that you all should know about, and I'll read it to you. It says, "And nor shall any state deny to any person the equal protection of the laws." So if Congress passes a law or the president issues an executive order that is in conflict with the Constitution must prevail.